Hello, Kidney Warriors! James here from Dadvice TV, your online kidney health coach, and this is Dadvice TV Live. Now, for those of you who are new, who are here for the very first time, welcome. It's great to have you here. My name is James. I am a kidney warrior, and you're going to find that we talk about ways to manage your kidney disease, maybe early detection of problems, how, tips for how to eat better, and it's all science-based. None of that mojo stuff about, taking supplements and all that. No. This is actual stuff that actually can help you. Now, tonight, we're going to be talking about ways to enjoy the holidays. It is the middle of holiday season. There's get-togethers. COVID's more under control, so we're going out. We're doing more. We're seeing family, and whenever we get together, at least in my family, that means lots of eating and so much food to choose from. Now, here to help us with tips to stay kidney friendly, yet still enjoy the holidays, please welcome from plantpoweredkidneys.com, renal dietitian, Jen Hernandez. Hey, Jen.
Hi, James. Hi, everybody. Good to be back again. And wow, the holidays are already flying by, but we still have a lot of them to enjoy. So I'm really excited to chat with you all tonight about how to enjoy them and stay healthy for the holidays. But first, if you have not met me or you don't know who I am, my name is Jen Hernandez, and I'm a renal dietitian. So I'm a registered dietitian. I'm also board certified in renal nutrition. And it was years after working in dialysis and really just my heart being broken over and over from hearing my patients on dialysis talk about their regrets of not making changes to their diet, to their nutrition to keep better care of themselves, their kidney health. That's when I decided to start Plant Powered Kidneys. So I have been building Plant Powered Kidneys over the course of several years now, and we help people with not even dialysis, even any stage of kidney disease or after dialysis through transplant. We help all stages of kidney disease in learning your best diet and how to focus really on a plant-based diet, how to incorporate a lot of plants, which is something that a lot of people feel like is not the right thing, but actually it is so good and healthy for you to include more plants in your diet for kidney health. And that's what we do at Plant Powered Kidneys. So you can learn tons of information about us, the dietitians at Plant Powered Kidneys, and follow us on Facebook at Plant Powered Kidneys in our Facebook group that we have. Or you can find our blog at plantpoweredkidneys.com. We have so many free resources, recipes, meal plans, free downloads and guides. I kid you not. I actually, no joke, I started printing up all of our free downloads that we have, and
It's like a book.
I'm at about 75 pages, and this is legitimately Plant Powered Kidneys. I'm not lying. This is the stack of free downloads that we have, and I'm not even halfway through printing them, just so I can kind of keep organized with what we have out there. But we have a lot of free stuff available for you to download at plantpoweredkidneys.com.
And I'll tell you, the last week on the Plant Powered Kidneys Facebook group, it's been challenging for me because people are posting so many great looking meals, and my doctor had me really tighten my diet when it comes to sugar and carbs. And I'm like, oh, this looks so good. Why couldn't they have posted that 2 weeks ago?
Oh,
But
there's
so many
definitely
great
a lot.
foods and ideas and recipes right there.
Yeah, the colors I think are really fantastic. I love when we see those pictures come across in Plant Powered Kidneys, and there's always like a fruit or a vegetable incorporated. People are not posting like, here's my white rice or here's my piece of bread, or it's so colorful, which means there's more nutrients in there and there's so many more benefits for kidney health. So it really is so cool to watch how everybody is kind of sharing this great information.
And I've taken a couple of the recipes that people have posted. I've tweaked them a little bit, a little less sugar, but I know, if I could make it just like they made. I mean, these are like chef quality photos, and they look amazing, like something I would order at a restaurant. Such a great resource for kidney patients who think eating is boring. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. There's so many different options.
Now, for those of you that are following along, let me bring this up here. We are going to be talking about 5 ways to enjoy the kidney-friendly holidays, keeping it kidney-friendly. And this is the blog on plantpowerkiddies.com that we will be using kind of as our rough guide for our conversation today. So if you ever want to go back and check something like, oh, what did they say? You can probably find it right here in this blog. And there's so many other blogs on plantpoweredkidneys.com, and some of them with those downloadables like Jen printed out over there.
Yeah.
All right. So, oops, let me bring us both up here. There we go. Now, I know someone who, when they go to a holiday party, one of the things they do is they don't eat for the whole day. They save it up. And that way they can get as much of the good food, at least the new food. It may not be healthy, but they can get as much of that. Is that a good strategy for a holiday get-together?
Well, I think we all know of that kind of person. We might sometimes be that person ourselves. And this is something that has been so baked into our culture from bad dieting, just really, really bad diet advice. The thing is this is not a healthy way to attend a holiday party or any get together, or, we just had Thanksgiving and we talked about sitting down to a big meal. It is not healthy for your body to essentially starve yourself before sitting down to a big meal. Our bodies need food as fuel. This is really, really important. So thinking that we can basically eliminate our fuel for the day and then think that we're going to have enough energy to get through the day and then we're going to somehow make it up later on, it's not really how the body works. So ideally what you want to do is eat routinely throughout the day. Even if you're going to a later holiday party or dinner or something like that, you want to eat your meals and your snacks as you normally do, like you normally should. You should be eating every 2, 3, 4 hours. Usually going beyond 4 hours between a meal or a snack is too much time for the body. And that's even why breakfast is called break fast. We're breaking the fast from overnight. We need to stop that fasting to give our body more fuel pretty soon in the morning so that we can kind of get back on track and get more energy for the day. So make sure that you're eating something before you go. And it doesn't have to be sitting down to your own big feast before you go, unless you feel like maybe it's a party you're like, I don't really want to eat. I don't feel like there's going to be anything that I will feel comfortable eating. I'll just enjoy myself here and then maybe have a few bites of something, or really not plan on eating at the party. And that's totally fine too. So whatever you want to do as far as eating for fuel and for your health, that's what you should follow. Now, this is really, really important for people who have blood sugar issues, because our blood sugars will drop really, really low if we don't eat for a certain amount of time. So if you have blood sugar issues, pre-diabetes or diabetes, whatever's going on there, you might not even have anything diagnosed, but you know that you just feel like junk. If you go hours without eating, that's your body telling you that you need to get some fuel in. So instead of having blood sugars that are doing these really big ups and downs, we want it to be nice, smooth waves. Think of a really calming ocean. There's nothing crazy and rocky. Everything is smooth sailing. And that's what we want for our blood sugars. So eating more routinely, consistently, getting healthy carbohydrates, getting a little bit of protein, getting fiber, healthy fats, getting all of these things in will help with regulating our blood sugars. And just as a side note, you might not have diabetes, but people with kidney disease have a higher risk of developing blood sugar control issues. It is the number one cause of kidney disease, but people with kidney disease can also develop blood sugar control issues. So beware of that. It's just kind of a safe warning that, nobody is exempt from these kind of health issues.
Yeah, and that's exactly what my doctor is worried about me right now. I'm not diabetic. I have put on some weight. I need to lose that weight, and I am losing it. I've lost 7 pounds in the last 2 weeks. I'm very happy about that.
Nice job.
He's worried that if I don't eat often enough, my blood sugar will go down. And then if I eat a big meal, or if I eat it all at once, it spikes up. And he doesn't want that up and down, those giant waves. He wants it to be more controlled. So for me, it feels like a massive reduction in sugar. I'm now eating a reasonable amount, and I'm just getting used to it.
Yeah,
It
there's
slowly
definitely an
creeped up
adjustment
over
period.
time.
Yeah, yeah, that is a good change, and there's some adjustment period to it,
Hmm.
but your body does get used to a different way of eating. We hear it a lot at Plant Powered Kidneys from the people who go through our course and try the recipes and the meal plans there, and they talk about how they're eating so many more plant-based meals that it feels normal to them. I was just going through some emails today from some people, and one of them was like, "Oh, my wife is now eating plant-based and feeling really good." And
Yay!
it's just proof that it is possible to feel better with making changes. You just got to stick through those transition periods and think about the long term, think about your outcomes that you want down the road, and keep going towards that.
Yep. And for me, the first few half of a week, maybe 4 or 5 days, was a bit tough. That withdrawal from
Hmm.
sugar, but now I feel so much better. As a matter of fact, I went somewhere to drop something off, and I caught myself kind of skipping through the parking lot, and I was like, "Oh, I feel good. This is awesome. I'm adjusted, and my body's kind of it's enjoying a lower level of sugar."
Yeah, our bodies get used to having less sugar, just like they maybe get used to having too much sugar. It is something that we adapt to. And if you have questions out there about sugar substitutes or anything like that, they still can have an effect on blood sugars. They still can have an effect on our desire for sweets, as in it kind of triggers this response of our brain thinking, we need more sugar. Like you told us you're going to give us sugar. We didn't get what we thought we'd get. Now I really need it. So beware, even though sugar substitutes, it's not a perfect substitution. It's still something to use in moderation, just like you would with regular sugar, too.
Now, with COVID, especially my family, our Christmas get together is going to be potluck. Everyone's kind of said, "Here's what I'm bringing. Here's what I'm bringing. Here's what I'm bringing." Is that good, or is that a problem for kidney patients?
Well, ultimately, it's probably pretty scary because you don't know what exactly the menu is. It's out of your control. A lot of times, I mean, I know relatives that when you think of potluck, you're thinking of, I want to bring my most decadent, like I want to bring my most like amazing dish that has, 3 sticks of butter in it and a pound of sugar. And like,
You
there's
know
people who
my
will want,
family. You know my relatives.
hey, it's not just you. It is everybody everywhere all the time that there's something about it. You want to bring this dish that's really, really decadent, but you don't have to go after all of those. So what you do want to do is bring something that you know that you can enjoy yourself. It doesn't matter if anybody else wants it or whatever the case is, you're bringing something that you know is good for you, and that if there's nothing else available, you will have that option to be able to enjoy in the party. And this could be an example of, like we talked about eating ahead earlier and not saving room for later. If you're going to a potluck and you don't know what's going to be offered, or you maybe hear about your aunt's really, really decadent chocolate souffle cake thing, whatever it is, you're like, you know what? I should probably eat beforehand so I'm not really tempted to overindulge in something like that. That could be a really good game plan too. But if you bring something to the party that you can enjoy, you're going to feel so much better. And chances are everyone's going to be looking at your thing like, oh my gosh, that's so healthy. And they're going to be impressed. They're going to be really impressed with you bringing something that is good, healthy, nutritious, not only for you, but for other people. And when you focus on something that has fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, all that kind of good stuff, that is going to just kind of set the level of, I guess, expectation for yourself. It just kind of shows of, this is what I want to bring to the party, and I care for all of you, and I want to make sure that you all stay healthy too, and I want to be healthy. So this is what I want to share with everybody.
And in your blog, I'm gonna bring it up here on the screen. You have like an example of like a really colorful. Um, it's not really a fruit platter because there's lots of great stuff. I see broccoli, cucumbers, some olives. We're getting some healthy fats there.
Hmm.
Some looks like pita bread. Oh, of course, hummus right here in the middle.
Oh
Mmm.
yeah, you gotta do the hummus. So this is a fancy plant-based charcuterie board. So charcuterie boards are typically known for having a lot of processed meats, a lot of cheese, a lot of fat. Like they will have some nuts sometimes or crackers, which could be high in sodium. You don't know. But this is something, like you said, it's so colorful and it's just really, really pretty. You know, if you brought something like this to the party, it's gonna be so impressive to everybody. It just looks so pretty and bright and festive and colorful. And I don't know about you, but when I go to a party, I love the kind of things that are snackable that like I don't have to sit down to a full plate and feel like I'm committed to a whole plate of food. So having just a little bit of a snack is kind of a nice option.
It's funny when I was a kid or when I was younger, even in college, I went right for the worst stuff at get-togethers. But now I'm like, oh, there's some cauliflower, there's some broccoli, oh, the sliced cucumbers with like a vinaigrette on them or something. I'm just
Hmm.
loving those. And it wasn't that I didn't like them when I was younger. I didn't try them.
Ah, yep, yep, that is very, very true. Even for a lot of adults too, that don't feel like they want to try something like that, especially at a party when you're comparing broccoli and cucumbers and whatever next to some crazy 12-layer dip with really salty tortilla chips or something like that. Sometimes it can be a hard sell, but you know, everybody has their choice and what they want to do, and we are here to provide some other healthy options so that when people leave the party or even during the party, they feel really, really good and they have a lot of energy and they're not feeling sluggish or worn down or worried about blood sugar spikes,
Mhm.
things like that.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that the way you feel from some food. There are things that you eat it, you're like, oh, that looks so good, but then you're like, oh, that wasn't worth it. You just don't feel yourself or have all that
Exactly.
energy. Now,
Yeah.
Alice asked a great question. Over here, where it says crisp and crunchy veggies, I have no clue what this is.
Cukes. That's my short term for cucumber.
Oh, okay, there you go, Alice. It's a short for cucumbers. I didn't know either.
I I didn't realize it was okay. If more people in the comments can please back me up and please tell me I'm not the only one who knows of cucumbers as cukes because I might lose it if I'm the only one. My world will be broken if I'm the only one who has ever called them cukes.
Yeah, I had never heard. So we'll see if anyone else says that in there. But it was a great question. I had to look at it. I'm like, oh, where does it say that? Oh, there it is. I don't know what that is. And I was looking at the pictures. Like, there's broccoli. There's some the red peppers.
I could only fit so many in. I could have maybe squeezed it in on the other side next to the olives and pomegranate, but I figured, hey, it's also crisp and crunchy too.
Yep, it is. All right, so that is great. Bringing your something you can eat. Um, Now another thing. What about we got to always remember about drinking.
Yep.
Everywhere I go, I have several of these, and I just fill them up with my water. I add some raspberry or some cherries or something, and I take it with me everywhere.
Yep. Yep.
I don't go anywhere without my water unless I'm going to like Target or something like that. But if I'm going to see people, I bring my own water. Are there would it maybe be a good idea to bring like a healthier beverage so that I have something else to
Yeah.
drink there and I don't have to carry my water everywhere?
Yeah, this can be another really fun way to share a nice alternative. Again, with the holidays, there's a lot of alcohol flowing. This is something that's really habitual for everybody, but not everybody wants or can drink alcohol. So it's great to bring a fun, non alcoholic option that's still really enjoyable and feels like a treat. So you can make some nice holiday punch. You can use a sparkling water and infuse it with some nice, pretty garnished fruit. You can use herbs. I love infusing herbs into water as well. Like we do rosemary and basil are really, really good. Thyme is great, especially when they're paired with fruit. It is so unique and tasty. And then if you want to add a little bit of color, try using some fruit juices because typically like the red punch kind of stuff is going to be added phosphates. So if you think about the traditional like Hawaiian punch, that is really, really high in phosphorus. So you want to do something that has a natural red color rather than those additives, which will be even healthier for the kidneys. And it provides another level of flavor to your punch. So bringing something like that will be really great for everybody. Again, if you brought it in like a nice big, they have those big serving
Hmm.
what are they, the big serving dispensers. You can layer fruit in there. You can freeze fruit or even like flowers, edible
Oh,
flowers in ice, and then you put them all in there, and it's just such a pretty way to have people drink water and stay hydrated, because no one wants to deal with a person who's had too much to drink at the party
hmm.
and you're just trying to keep them together, or wake up the next morning and really regret what's been going on.
Yep. I like that idea. Now we have a couple questions here. Donna asked, how much cucumber can you eat? And I'll tell you, I eat a lot of cucumber throughout the day.
Well, it's going to be different for everybody. Long story short, but the good news is that cucumber is a low potassium fruit. So you want to include it as part of your servings of fruits and vegetables for the day. I don't know the exact. I know we have it on our social media. I would say Instagram. We have definitely shared some more nutrition details about cucumbers, but it's been a while. Um, but they're low in potassium. They are very hydrating because they have a ton of water content. So I wouldn't say like, don't go crazy, don't go overboard. It's not a cucumber diet. It's cucumbers that fit into a plant-based diet. So as you're adding them in, it's going to be really easy to have like a cucumber, chop it up and add it to a salad, mix it into a like a yogurt or cottage cheese or something if you want to do that, or do a sandwich with cucumbers,
Exactly.
whatever
That
you like.
that's my favorite. I love putting them on a sandwich instead of pickles because I get the crunch
Yeah,
and I don't get all the sodium.
right. Yeah, they're very, very versatile. It's another favorite for me for flavoring water. Cucumber is so easy, and it's that fancy spa water.
Yeah, there you go. And cucumber's so affordable.
Yeah.
Yet we think of it in water as being fancy. Now, Connie asked, what about fruitcake? That's a popular, or at least I see them at the store. I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
seen anybody purchase one, though.
I know it's almost like a myth, right? Of the
Yeah.
holidays. Like, do we ever really see it, or we just
Are
know of
those the
it?
same fruitcakes just every year getting rotated back?
They just have a storage room for them that they pull them back
Yeah,
out. They're like, all right, time for a fruitcake
they're
display.
decorations.
So, okay, fruitcakes, the thing about them is that they're very nutrient dense. They have dried fruit and they have nuts in them, and both of those are high in potassium. They do have other benefits like having fiber and magnesium, and the potassium can be beneficial for a lot of people. But it's something that you just want to keep in mind if you do need to limit your potassium. And I keep saying if because even though many people think everybody with kidney disease should be on a potassium restriction, it's actually not that many people that need to be on a potassium restriction.
I'm on a
So
high
find out
potassium diet.
exactly. Even people on dialysis, certain dialysis treatments like peritoneal dialysis need a lot more potassium than someone who's getting in center hemodialysis. So it's different across the board. Only you and your healthcare team will be able to determine if you are on a potassium restriction. So first find that out. And then from there is when you can kind of start guiding into, is this something to be concerned about, or should you be pulling back on certain things with potassium or not? Um, if it's something that you really, I'm getting back to fruitcake, if it's something that you really enjoy, and let's say it's a holiday tradition and something that you really just can't pass up because it means a lot, it's something that your grandma used to make and it's just been passed down, then yeah, you should enjoy some fruitcake. That is really, really special. Um, Maybe I would say look at other things when we're connecting emotions to foods. There are really strong emotional connections, but think about other things that you can connect with your grandma in this case that will help you with those emotional ties besides just the food. Because if you need to cut it out, there's other ways to do that. Um, I kind of get kind of tangential with this because there's a lot of different like, but then this and then this. There's a lot of different factors, and basically for every different kind of food, these are the different factors that we would be breaking down. So, long story short, it can be okay if you want it, if it's really something that you want to enjoy, and if it fits into your renal diet.
Mhm. Yeah, the portion may be smaller than what you were hoping for.
Yeah.
Now, Jen, have you ever tried fruitcake? Because I never have. I've. It just doesn't look appetizing to me.
I've I've only seen it in pictures. Like I've only seen it like in the grocery store displays, and I feel like maybe one time it was kind of like a joke gift. Not like I mean, not too jokey, but more like, oh, that's not your real gift.
Mhm.
I can't say I've ever had it. I know of it. I know it's made with the spices and the dried fruits and nuts, and that's my extent.
Yeah, maybe one day, not this year, but maybe one day in the future, I'll give it a little try, a little piece.
Yeah.
Now, on your blog, in this article, there is also a link, just to let everyone know, a link to a bunch of holiday recipes. So you can click on it. There, you may say, "Hey, what are some things I can make?" And they'll all these recipes and other information is right there in the blog. Alice loves fruitcakes. Says, I think it's beautiful. It does look amazing. The little cherries and the greens and the reds and all the colors. It just weighs so much. It feels so solid. I'm like, I don't know.
It's very, very dense. That is for sure. Very dense.
So we've talked about some ways to, we're going to not starve ourselves before we go. We're going to bring something. If it's a potluck, great opportunity to make sure we have something that's healthy that we like, and maybe even let other people see some good, colorful food and open up their experiences to it. And also bringing a drink, like a healthy drink is great.
Hmm.
What are some other tips for helping us stay healthy and enjoy the holidays?
So another one that I'm a really, really big fan of is keeping active. So this is something we kind of think more about exercise like before summer, before we have to go out into our bathing suits or anything like that. But really, activity has to do with keeping us healthy. And that's from the inside out. That's from our cardiovascular system, from our lungs, and just being able to make sure that we're pumping the blood through the body, the blood that is being cleansed by the kidneys. So find ways to stay active during the holidays is going to be really, really helpful for you. And I'm not even talking about let's go plan a marathon or do that the turkey 5K thing. We don't need to do that. We can just find a way to get outside when it's nice and fresh and crisp out, maybe not like terrible weather, and get
Mhm.
a nice walk in. Something that's not too crazy. Again, it doesn't have to be 30 plus minutes. If you do a 10-minute walk, maybe try to plan something that would be like either maybe just a little bit after a meal and then kind of start to set that routine. That's a really good time to walk because walking helps with our digestive system. So if we've eaten a meal and then we go on a walk, we're going to help get that blood flowing so that the blood picks up the nutrients that we have just eaten so they get absorbed into the body and then the kidneys can filter out the waste. So eating, or I'm sorry, walking after eating is a really, really great thing to practice. And again, 5, 10, 15 minutes, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. If you're going somewhere like a holiday party, it could just be a matter of parking at the back end of the parking lot
Mhm.
and taking a little bit of a curvy walk to the car. So you're not doing the straight, let's just get there kind of a walk, but you're just enjoying the nice weather outside.
Yeah, I absolutely love walking. I wasn't getting enough of it the last year, too much sitting for work and stuff like that. And last Christmas, I got my wife, not to sound mean, but I got her a treadmill. She wanted the treadmill. And
There
I
you go.
didn't get it to her as a hint or anything, but I've now started using it in the evening. So I finish eating my dinner earlier in the day, and then in the evening, I just take my iPad and I go on a very slow walk. It's not very fast. I'm not, struggling to keep my breath or anything like that. And I'm watching a movie. And it was
Hmm.
funny. I've slowly gotten longer and longer not because I'm trying to push myself. I've just gotten so used to it. It's become so easy. And this last weekend, I watched Tom Hanks in Finch. And I'll tell you, if anyone,
Okay.
that is such a good movie, and it'll get your allergies going.
Oh.
It's really about a dog. You don't know what it's about, but it's about a dog. The dog doesn't die, just so people know. The dog's perfectly fine the whole movie. But I ended up walking almost 2 hours. Yeah, I took a little bit of a break here and there, go to the restroom or go get more water and stuff like that. But I was enjoying the movie. I was like I was in a
Hmm.
different world and just walking at a very casual pace. And it's part of what's helping me get back to a healthier weight.
Yeah, I think figuring out that kind of habit and pattern is really, really helpful. The challenge a lot of us are going to find in the holidays is when we're kind of taken out of our element. So if you're traveling or staying with family or something like that, you might not have that typical routine that you're normally in. Um, Personally, I really enjoy weightlifting and I do strength training a few times a week. But when I travel to visit my family, to visit my parents, I'm not going to have my tools. I'm not going to have my weights, and I'm definitely not packing them. So I need to
Could you
adapt.
imagine that packing your weights? I think my wife does in a lot of her luggage when I'm loading it in the car. It feels like the weights are in there.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I did contemplate, like, okay, if I just did some lighter ones and but no. I'm going to, though, I will bring my resistance bands because they do provide strength training and it's something that's easy for me to carry on with me. So this is a way that I'll be able to plan it or bring them with me. And then I'm gonna plan my workouts to be done first thing in the morning before I even step outside of my room, before I start getting distracted with family. I'm going to take care of it right then and there so I can go on and enjoy my day, but still feel really good that I'm keeping my muscles strong and getting some exercise in throughout my holiday.
Yep. And in your blog, you have some examples of great ways to get some exercise in. And I'll tell you, my favorite one is okay, I always talk about walking, but my favorite exercise, and I do it every single morning, dancing.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at dancing, nor am I good at singing, but let me tell you something. I have an awesome morning playlist, and it is all singing as loud as I can, and before my wife and kids complain. And I'm a dancing in the morning. Where do you get this energy? But you get some good music, it's easy to get moving.
Yep. Very true. I would say mine are between weightlifting and yoga. I do a couple yoga classes a week and I really have really enjoyed that too. So I mean, that's the thing, you guys, is you want to find something that just it feels natural to you. It feels normal. It feels like if it wasn't in your life, something's missing. That's the kind of exercise you want to focus on so that it will be easier to keep implementing it and to make it something that is a lifestyle change and not a temporary fix. So find the one, and there's more even beyond this. There's more types of exercise, whatever it is that you enjoy. That's what you should stick to.
Exactly. All righty. I'm looking at the questions. We have a number of questions that we'll get to in just a few moments. For those that are like, oh, will they get to my question? Yes, we're going to get to your questions. Keep them coming. These are great. All
Yeah.
right, so we're gonna keep active. We're gonna, after we eat, we're gonna get moving. Maybe we're doing some dancing. Maybe we're doing some walking or something. Get the blood flowing, getting us feeling great 'cause we didn't overdo it. What are some other tips?
So another one I want everybody to pay attention to during the holiday season, again, maybe not in your normal environment or you're out and about, please keep taking your medication. Take your prescription medications, whatever you are supposed to be taking, make sure you stick to that. It can be really tough during the holidays to maintain consistency with medication when you're out and about, but your medications work best when they're taken in the regimen that your doctor has prescribed. And if you start missing some of them or slipping on things or thinking, oh, I'll just take two later, something like that, it's not how it works. Kind of like our appetite and eating routinely. Medications work in a certain way, and you need to take them as prescribed. So please take your medications. The reason I bring this up is it reminds me of, again, when I worked in dialysis, having a lot of my patients who would take phosphorus binders. And we talked about having to take them as prescribed, which typically is every time they eat. So again, if you're at a holiday party and you're eating, but you didn't bring your phosphorus binders with you, that's already going to be really tough. And your labs will probably come up high. And that's just going to lead to a whole thing of, oh, your phosphorus is high. What are we going to do about it? You know what to do about it. Take the medication like you're supposed to, and you can avoid all that.
Yeah. And I use an app called Round on my phone. Just brought it up here. You can't really see it much. And it reminds me to take my medication. Now, I'm not on any binders or anything like that, so I don't have to worry about taking them when I eat, but I can set times for each pill or each medication I need, and I can give it a window. Like I need to take this. If dinner's at 6, I can make sure I take it at between 5:30 and 6 if I take it before I eat, or have it remind me when I eat. And I love having it there. Round's a free app, completely free, and it will bug you until you click either on your watch or on the phone and say, yes, I took my meds.
Yeah, I just use my reminder. I use my reminder notification. I just set up for the different supplements that I'm taking, just the time I need to take them, and it pops up at that time. And then until I tap it, it's just going to stay there on my lock screen on my phone. So even when I turn my phone back on to like check the time or something, it's right there. Jen, take your B complex. Please take your B complex. And then if it's, let's say I forget it, it's going to say, hey, you were supposed to take it yesterday and you didn't take it yet. So there's a lot of great apps and tools right at your fingertips, literally, that you can use to kind of help stay on track. You can use like those portable pill holders. There's keychain pill holders that you can attach to your keys or even to your phone, and that can be another way to just have them really like at the ready.
Cool. I tried using one of those pill thingies, but I have too many pills. Not that they don't make ones for tons of pills. It's just it ended up being like it weighed so much and it sounded so loud. All these pills rattling around. It's like So if I get my weight down, the doctor says I may be able to reduce the number of pills. So that's one of my goals. Staying active,
awesome.
eating better, sticking to the diet, and watching my sugar, and maybe even dropping some pills soon.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot with our clients at PPK. We have had many clients get off of medications within the few months that they work with us.
Great. That's awesome. Now, what
hmm
about alcohol? We know that alcohol is very common, flowing at holiday get-togethers, especially corporate events where someone else is footing the bill.
Yeah, and this is again one of those really challenging things with the holidays. I think challenging for a lot of people. You can always use your medication. We are just talking about that. If you are on medication, which many people do have medication that interacts with alcohol, so your doctors might say you cannot drink alcohol while you're on this medication. That right there is that stopping point of, oh, sorry, I'm taking something, I can't have alcohol. That you want to go back to that non-alcoholic drink. Keep something in your hands so that people aren't asking you to get a drink or trying to offer you something that you don't want or don't need. Because alcohol, while it is something that may be okay from time to time, it's not something that is going to be necessarily directly helpful for kidney health. And if you have too much of it, it can be really bad for blood sugars, for blood pressure, and therefore for kidney health. So you want to be careful with alcohol. So if you do have some alcohol, make sure you're sticking to just one drink. Usually the standards for alcohol intake is 1 drink per day for women, 2 drinks per day for men. They are looking at leveling that playing field, so to say, for just 1 drink apiece for each person. But we'll wait and see what kind of updates come from that. Either way, you do not want to have alcohol be the main focus of the party because, again, you don't want to be that person who has everybody trying to take care of them or wakes up with a lot of regrets of how you were at the party or how much you had.
Mm-hmm.
So be really careful and just limit your alcohol. It's not going to bring more fun. If anything, you're not going to remember enough of the party to think you had a good time. You won't know.
Exactly. You want to remember it. You want to enjoy it and remember it.
Exactly. Yes. This is supposed to be something about making memories, enjoying the holidays. You don't want to look back and be like, "Oh yeah, Christmas 2021. That happened."
Yeah.
And then just kind of leave it at that.
For me, I I'm not an alcohol fan. I was in college, and I got a video camera one Christmas. I saw what I was like with a lot of alcohol, and I just stopped drinking it. And I might have maybe like one beer a year, not a month,
Yeah.
but a year. For me, I've gotten used to water before it was soda, a bad
Mhm.
choice. Dr. Pepper. I no longer miss Dr. Pepper. I did for the first year after I left it. But now it's just water. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Drinking water. Got my fruit in there for a little bit of flavor. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, a lot of us need to drink a lot of water. If you have kidney stone issues, you might need to drink 2-3 liters of water per day, which is a lot of water to drink. And that alcohol is not counting towards that hydration. Alcohol can dehydrate you, increase the risk of stones. So you want to be really careful about that.
Awesome. So let me go to the questions we have, because that pretty much covers everything in the blog. We got 5 tips with a lot of details to help you enjoy the holidays. And what we've learned is you don't have to suffer. You don't have to be like, oh, there's nothing to eat. Just make some good choices. If you can, bring some of your own stuff. Don't arrive starved where you feel like you have to eat something now.
Hmm.
And I would also add another little tip. Don't fall for peer pressure to eat stuff. For example,
Yeah.
I love potato candy. This is an old thing. It used to be made. I think it started around the Great Depression. It's pretty much potatoes, powdered sugar, and peanut butter. Rolled up in a log, frozen, sliced up. It's delicious. My mom made some, and when I was there this weekend, she's like, "Oh, here, try it, try it, try it. I made it for you." She was begging me to eat the potato candy, and I told her, I was like, "Mom, that's a lot of sugar." She didn't realize. She said, "Well, there's no sugar in this. It's powdered sugar. It doesn't count. There's no sugar in potatoes. And peanut butter doesn't have sugar." She didn't realize. Okay, that it's just sugar, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is a really good point that there is some emotional attachments, like we said, about to food, and it can kind of be like a two-way street. People love to feed those comfort foods for that enjoyment and to basically share their love. And in some cases, people will feel rejected if we turn down their food. But the thing is that that doesn't actually mean we don't love them. We love them very much, and we are very, very grateful and appreciative to have them in our lives, and we want them to stay in our lives, and we want to be around to be in their lives too. So
Exactly.
sometimes it's just a matter of saying, you know what, I'm pretty stuffed. I've already eaten so much, or I have got my drink here. It's filling me up, whatever the case is. Honestly, you don't need to give an excuse. So if you're ever in that situation, just a simple no thank you can work. You don't need to justify your choice to anybody. It's your call because it's your body and it's your health.
Mhm.
The way I kind of think about it in another way, and it's always going to be a car analogy. Again, I don't know why. It always is. But I was I was thinking when I was driving the other day and somebody was just on my tail and I was staying at the speed limit and I was like, "You know what? They're not going to pay my speeding ticket, so I'm going to drive the speed limit." And that's kind of the thing with the food is they're not going to deal with whatever guilt or health issues that I have coming from, dealing with this food, whatever. They're not going to deal with that. That's me. So they're just going to deal with that. I'm going to take care of my decision and I'm going to do what's best for me.
Awesome. Yeah, and I did not eat any of the potato candy. We had a whole bag of cookies. My mom made homemade cookies. We brought them home, and My parents are not on tonight. We're giving it to my wife's sister. She's got 4 daughters. They'll love the cookies and the potato candy. Out of sight, out of mind, out of my belly, out of my
You're just
blood,
sharing it. Yeah.
not hurting my kidneys. All
hmm
right, let me go to some of the questions we have in here. Someone asked, how do I get relief from constipation?
So there's a few things. For one, we talked about walking after eating. That is really, really helpful for constipation relief. So again, it's great to help with the digestive system, really in like a literal and figurative way, get things moving. So try to start by doing a little bit of moving after your meals. Another couple factors with constipation, one could be fiber. Either you're not getting enough or you're getting too much. Let's say you decided to go on a more plant-based diet and you get this huge influx, this big swing, and you're getting a lot more fiber in the body than you were getting from before. That big increase in fiber can actually kind of stop up our digestive system. So as you're adding more plants into the diet, you can do it slowly, a little bit at a time, to really let your body get used to that additional fiber in the body so that it actually uses it to clean the digestive tract. That's what it helps do, is move everything through. So make sure that your fiber intake is not a huge increase or decrease, because if you're not getting enough fiber, that could also cause constipation. And then along, kind of like paired along with the fiber, is making sure you're really hydrated. So,
Mhm.
so long as you're not on a fluid restriction, because if you're on a fluid restriction and you drink more water, that's not going to help. That'll just cause more problems. But if you're not on a fluid restriction, you need to drink a lot of water, and that will help keep things moving along as well. So make sure you're really, really hydrated. Finally, the other thing to consider is medications. If you've had a medication change recently, or if you want to talk with your doctor about a certain medication that you're taking that might have a side effect of constipation, it should be something to clear up with the doctor. You want to keep taking medication as prescribed unless your doctor says, oh, you can stop that for that reason. Or let them know, hey, I'm taking this new medication and now I'm constipated. Is there an alternative? Personally, I'm not a fan of laxatives. I don't think that they're very helpful. It's kind of a band-aid fix. It's not really giving you a solution, maybe a temporary one or a short-term one. But if you're not looking at really what's causing the constipation, the laxative isn't going to be something long-term that's going to be helpful.
Great information. Now, we have another one here, someone who is on a fluid restriction. They're limited to 67 ounces of water per day, but since they are on a fluid restriction, can they still put fruits into their waters?
Absolutely. I think that is really, really good. In fact, if you use, let's say, frozen fruit or frozen veggies, if you use something like that in your water, it can actually double as the infuser and also the thing that chills your water. Because if you use regular ice, the ice itself will melt 100% into water. Now, fruit does have a high water content, but even when it melts in your drink, it's not going to be releasing as much water as the ice would. So using frozen fruit can be really, really good to keep you on that fluid restriction, have you enjoy your water intake, but not give you too much. But definitely keep tracking your fluids. And remember, a fluid restriction doesn't mean just water, it means coffee, tea, yes, even alcohol, soup, stew, yogurt, pudding, anything you put out on the Phoenix parking lots in July. If it turns into a puddle, that means it's a liquid that needs to be accounted for.
Now, Rebecca loves duck, and it's a higher fat or a more fatty meat. Is it okay to eat on a renal diet?
So, what I would want to look at are a couple things, and I will need to check them. We actually have several blogs up, and I'm looking them up right now. We have several blogs up on the website that are related to different things about meat. For one is potassium. So, duck has 251 milligrams of potassium in 100 grams, which is about a 3.5 ounce serving. So, just about the palm of your hand, which is pretty typical for what a lot of people have on their plate.
Mhm.
251 milligrams is a high potassium food. So if you have a potassium restriction, that would be something to consider as part of your diet. The other thing, we know that it's high in protein. If you have a kidney disease earlier stage or moderate, or even especially, I would say late stage, you want to be careful with protein. And all animal proteins, all animal foods are going to be higher in protein, and protein is harder for the kidneys to deal with. That's why a low protein diet is recommended for people with CKD that aren't on dialysis, that want to preserve kidney function. So if that's you, I would say be careful, be really, really careful, not just with duck, but with all animal products because of that protein. The other thing about protein and duck is prowl. And I need to look this up again too. I don't know, because we do
Wow.
have
It's been a
an
while since we
article.
talked about prowl. We had a whole show about that.
Yeah, and this is a really important topic because prowl is something that it stands for potential renal acid load, and it's an equation looking at the different components of a food to determine if it will make a more acidic product in the body or a more alkaline product. In general, animal proteins will be more acid inducing or acid producing because they're heavy in protein, they're heavy in potassium, they're not heavy in magnesium, which is something that's more alkaline. So we have to look at those factors as well. I don't know the prowl for duck right offhand, but if I had to guess, I would say it would be pretty acid producing because of the protein and the potassium, and not having the other nutrients that are negative balancing for us. So I don't I don't want to say no, you can't have it, but I do want to warn you of things that you don't want to overdo it with these kinds of animal proteins, or animal proteins in general.
Yep. And one of the best things I did to get my kidney disease under control and to kind of open up more options for me was working directly with the renal dietitian, because then they can look at my health, my labs, my activity level, and a whole bunch of other things,
Hmm.
and what I like and what I don't like, and help me discover how much I could eat of the foods I liked, how much of healthier foods that I used to ignore or use as a garnish do I need to have in my diet now. So that would be something I would definitely encourage everyone out there, work with the renal dietitian. And the nice thing is you don't have to go see them like every single week. They're going to teach you how to eat, how to make better choices. And the way I look at it is, then you're not on a renal diet. It's making healthy choices. That word diet is out of there. It's just, oh, now I know how to make better choices. I can have a little bit of that, and I'm going to be careful in this. I'm not going to eat it every day or at every meal. Just one of the benefits of a renal dietitian. Speaking of shouldn't have that all the time, Teresa asks, what about cranberry juice? She drinks it every day. Doesn't say how much she drinks every day, but she's asking about cranberry juice.
Okay, so I mean, if it's something that you really, really enjoy and you want to have every day, it could be something that's a possibility. Just so you know, a serving of juice is 4 ounces or half a cup. And there's not many juice. Yeah, I know.
That's like less than what is in a kitty cup.
Yeah, exactly. There's not many glasses out there that are like juice glasses. Or if you, I mean, it's not like if you go to a restaurant and order a glass of juice, they're going to give you a glass of
They're going to
juice.
give you 12 or
So,
16 ounces.
exactly, exactly. So, keep in mind when we're saying having juice every day, 4 ounces is what we're talking about, because that 4 ounces is equivalent to a serving of fruit. If you have a lot more, then what really kind of becomes concerning is it is a simple sugar because the fruit has been processed. We have removed the fiber from the fruit, and we're only including the carbohydrate, that sugar of the fruit. So it's something that you can have. I wouldn't have a ton of it, not all the time. Cranberry juice is not a miracle cure for anything related to kidney issues. There are
Exactly.
some things potentially with urinary tract infections with cranberry. I know we hear a lot about that. But even so, you've got to be careful and don't think that that's going to be the only thing that would help fix it. Usually you'll be on like antibiotics and other things to help take care of it. So keep in mind, we're not looking for anything as a miracle cure or anything that you feel like you have to have every day. There's no such thing of a food that has to be in your diet every single day.
Now, what about those diet cranberry juices that are low in sugar? Um, DJM is mentioning the ocean spray one that's only 5 calories. Is that a better cranberry juice or?
I mean, what is it made of?
Yeah, that's what I'm
I'm not
thinking.
I'm not
For
a
me,
juice drinker,
everything
so I
is.
don't know.
I've gotten so good at looking at the back and reading the labels, and not just the nutritional fact. I look at the ingredients and the order of the ingredients. Like,
Yeah,
I saw
that's a
something, I
really
can't
big
remember what it was.
thing.
Number one was sugar. I was like, this is sugar. That's what this
Yeah,
is. This isn't food.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so I found the 5 calorie. I had to look it up. 40 milligrams of sodium. I mean, that's pretty
Listen,
negligible.
yeah.
2 grams of carbohydrates. It's, I mean, it says not a significant source of yada, yada, yada. It's made with water and then cranberry. It's watered down cranberry juice.
Okay, that's a good way to make a diet. Water it
Yeah,
down.
water it down. You can do that yourself if you just get the concentrate of
Yeah.
regular cranberry juice and just
I
add
bet you
water,
you're paying full price for it.
if not
Watered
more,
down. Yeah.
honestly. Yeah, and also it does have a potassium additive. It has a sulfame potassium. It has a potassium additive, and even though it says that it's not a significant source of potassium, research is really looking at the impact of potassium additives for kidney health, especially for people if you are on a low potassium diet. Look at those potassium additives because those are potentially a big factor for you.
All right, one more question before, because we're almost at the top of the hour, and I definitely wanted to get this one in. Carrie, it sounds like she's new to eating more of a plant-based diet, maybe making the transition and eating plant-based diet. Oh, so many benefits. I encourage everyone to do that. I am not 100% plant. I had scrambled eggs that I made in my air fryer. Yes, scrambled eggs in an air fryer today for lunch, along with a whole bunch of like chopped up red and green peppers and onions in there. Oh, it was more like a scrambled omelet. It was delicious. I guess you'd call that a Denver omelet. Omelet. But she's asking, is there such a thing as a negligible amount of meat that Carrie can eat that won't impact the labs or really harm the kidneys?
Yeah, it really is. We talk about making this change to a lifestyle, and James, you are a great example of this, in that you don't need to be 100% plant-based. And that's why we do say plant-based diet and not vegan diet, because there's a difference. And we want there to be more plants that are put into the diet more than anything. It doesn't need to be vegan, which means it doesn't need to have a lot of the processed things that a lot of vegan foods will be, is highly, highly processed. So when it comes to animal protein, it really comes down to that routine that you have. How many times per week or times per day are you eating animal meat? Is it something that is really routine for you, that you would say every dinner, most of your lunches, and some of your breakfasts, you have an animal protein? If so, you might want to consider pulling back and being a little bit more conservative with your animal protein, because again, the animal protein is really hard. And we did do that talk about the low protein diet. That one is a really, really good article, a really great video that we talked about the low protein diet. That is one of the best things that you can do to protect your kidney health, is be really careful about your protein, with your animal protein really specifically. Plant protein can also count as a factor in there too if you go too heavy in plant protein, but really animal protein, because it's also tying along with that prowl as well, that can be a big factor too. So if you are, let's say typically you're really primarily plant-based and you only eat any kind of animal meat like once a year or something, If you sit down to a little bit of animal meat at one meal, it's not going to erase everything you've done for your health before. Your kidneys are strong and capable, and they will do what they can to take care of you if you give them consistent love and care all the time. It's not just and this is again like a lifestyle change, and not just, oh, we're going to do this plant-based diet for a week or 2 weeks and then lose 10 pounds and feel fantastic and then go
Well,
back
I
to
wish it
eating.
was that easy.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen that way. Our bodies are resilient, but they're not stupid. They will pay attention to your changes and whatever habits you build in. So focus on those bigger habits. And another thing too is I always think of this with clients of, if we take something away, for example, a protein, or sorry, animal proteins, what are you going to put in its place? Because you can't eat an empty plate. You've got to have something there. So pulling something out, what are you going to put there instead? Make sure you think of those alternatives and not just what to remove from your diet, because you've got to eat something. Kidney disease requires a lot of calories and energy and nutrition. So don't sacrifice all of that because you're thinking that you have to follow a low, this, that, and the other kind of diet. So moral of the story, one bite will not be the end of it. But if it's routinely done, consistently done, that is going to set the tone for what your kidneys are or are not capable of doing.
Awesome. And we are at the top of the hour, and I want to do one more plug for the website. This, of course, there's the dadvicetv.com website, but the Plant Powered Kidneys website, which has the article we are going over today. Jen has an excellent search over here, and you can search for so much stuff. And if she has a blog on it, chances are she does, you're going to see it right there, and you can go into it, read more about the topic, learn more about it. There may even be downloadable things you can print out or just read on your computer or your mobile device. Lots of great information, tips, and tools to help you better understand how nutrition impacts your health, your life, your kidneys, so that you're not afraid of food. You're not worried about what am I going to eat if I'm going to go out fast food. We're going on a trip or something like that. We're not going to be able to sit down and have a nice, veggie meal or something like that. Don't worry. Jen's got you covered on her website. Lots of great information right there. And this is so for you and I, this is our last show for 2021 until January.
I can't even believe it. We made it, guys. We made it through 2021.
I'm glad we made it through 2021.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's been a tough one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely.
But I'd like to thank you, Jen, for being here, sharing all this great information. Oh, it's always a pleasure having you on. I laugh so much when we're talking. We're sharing information. We're showing that I have kidney disease. I can manage it. Kidney disease doesn't manage me. Just making the right choices. The more you know, the easier those right choices are to make. So I'd like to thank everyone. Please subscribe to Dadvice TV on YouTube if you haven't subscribed yet, which is the majority of people watching. Believe it or not, 80% of people are not subscribed. I would love to see the subscription number keep growing and growing and growing.
I'm surprised they're missing out on all your shows.
Well, then they watch the shows. They just don't get the notifications. They don't subscribe. And I'm hoping next year to do some events and things like that. And if I can get more subscribers, that helps me get sponsorship to go and host events or to do things. I'm all excited for 2022. All right,
man.
Jen.
I mean, I think if you said that you would be running around and hosting events, that would be, you'll get subscribers. You'll have people because they're like, oh my gosh, I want to go to that. I need to subscribe. So I could be a part of that.
I'll tell you, I've started going out more and more as COVID started to go down. I know it's going back up again. I've got my 2 initial shots. I got my booster. My wife's all 3. My kids have both of theirs. So I've started going out more, and I've started meeting people and running into people. And a quick funny story. I was at the car wash, and the person, a young guy, kind of a kid, a teenager, runs up to me and says, "Can I take your picture?" And I thought,
Oh,
oh, that's cool. My car says Dadvice TV on it. And I thought, wow, he must watch. This is awesome. He goes, my mom, my grandma watches you. Can I take a picture? I
oh,
was like,
that is
oh,
the
that's,
sweetest.
it's almost like meeting her. All right. Thanks for being here, Jen. And thank you, everyone out there. I'll be back tomorrow night with Dr. Rosansky. And it's my last scheduled show of the year, though I'm working on one or two for next week, which one might be a reschedule of Lisa Baxter. She was on last week, and we were having all sorts of internet problems. Those big storms with the tornadoes were causing problems other places, and it was impacting our internet between each other. So we're working on rescheduling her. But I will see everybody in the next video. Bye, everyone.